Hey everyone. Uh, so I just got my first YouTube copyright strike. Ouch. Man, that really took the wind out of my sails. Uh, I'm just gonna go back to like doing safe stuff like video games. So the video that I wanted to do, I haven't quite given up on it just yet, but the video that I wanted to do is basically just kind of like contrasting and comparing Sword Art Online and other anime that are based on MMOs and stuff like that. But I wanted to kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I ended up showing like video clips of Sword Art Online and very short ones. And I guess the first time I tried to do it, the clips were maybe a little bit too long. I guess it kind of made sense, and maybe I did deserve the copyright strike. But I didn't try to upload the video. I'm a little worried about that. It's like I scheduled it. I guess that counts. If I schedule a video, that counts for it to be. It just treats it like it's already published. So maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's where I went wrong. Oh, damn that guy. So I guess that's the mistake that I made. I should have just left it sitting there. So I was actually kind of curious about this, and I was wondering if maybe it's possible that I can try to do the video again. Just I cut everything out of it, but now I'm afraid to upload it to see if it can pass the test. But I literally cut out all of the footage of everything except for like these little 5 second long clips, and I think that that should be safe. Like, but I don't know. I'm nervous. Like, I was gonna have so much fun with it too. Like, it was a fun video to make, and I was just talking. Like, Sword Art Online is a really interesting thing to compare to actual MMOs, because there's just so many like weird thought processes that even especially as a game developer that you don't even try to think about. Like, and one of the things while making the video I was analyzing even further is that like uh, the flow of it and the design of Sword Art Online actually makes it this like really hugely masochistic game, which just which is just something you never do. Assassin just like put the monster right next to me. You try to MPK me, man. So like, there's all kinds of stuff, and that's even true for the second season. Actually, no, it was the third season where they did like a shooter game like Call of Duty, but it was like a massively multiplayer game, and they like talked about how it was purposely designed so that you can't use vehicles or fast travel or anything like that. Not to say that Sword Art Online even had those things. So it's like the size of the biomes and everything like that were just actually they're so big that in a real video game people would have complained that they can't get from one town to the other within a reasonable amount of time. So I don't know. It was just a really interesting idea, and it was an idea that I had for a really long time, and I just wanted to actually just talk about it openly. Like, hey, this is the design of this. This is how it would actually be, and stuff like that. So I could try to upload the video again, or maybe I should just be safe. Like, get another strike against me. Oh. Actually, here's one of the topics right here about this game. And Terra is like this as well. What the hell is it with competing with people for like quest stuff? You're like, this game I've been competing with people for monsters and quests. Like, what just happened right here is totally inexcusable. Now I gotta wait for this to respawn. It's almost like they did it on purpose. You'd have to learn by now that doing something like this is a bad idea. Like, come on, how many years has it been with these games of being out? And like, even I don't get it. Maybe I'm just picky, or I don't get it. But one of the things that's kind of funny in the case of Sword Art Online is that's like the entire game. But not only that, full out open world PvP and obviously permadeath, which is part of the storyline of the game. But not all of them are even like that. So like Log Horizon isn't permadeath, and the later seasons of Sword Art Online. So like. I forget the name of the second game, but it was a magical-based fantasy world, and that didn't have permadeath because, well, whoa, annoying monsters that suck you towards them. The ice ball, you motherfucker! I guess, of course, with that, there's like all kinds of other topics to go into about MMOs in general. Like, for one, I've always had a really big problem with the fact that in every MMO I've ever played. This is true for all of them. It's some kind of weird thing. Alright, you ever notice that when you die in an MMO, it has to reload the entire zone? the only genre that does this universally, as far as I can tell. Like, it reloads the entire zone so that you can respawn. Can you imagine if Call of Duty or Quake worked that way? Like, hey, you died, you know, now it's time to wait 30 to 60 seconds for the entire zone to reload. Why? What the fuck is that? And it doesn't matter, like Guild Wars 2, like all of them do this. You die and it's time to respawn, so like here's your loading screen. What the fuck? Like, how come that's, how is that a thing? And why? Like, why on some technical level has that not been fixed by now? Why? Seriously, if you die, it shouldn't reload the zone. I don't get it. Well, at least nobody else is doing this particular quest at the moment, and I'm not having to compete with them for that. Although, Blade and Soul was rendered basically unplayable without having to switch to a different channel, which is up here. There's a channel option to get away from other players, because the competition can become so fierce in terms of like trying to get claims on monsters and stuff like that, and like people can actually be assholes. Which, I don't know. In Guild Wars 2, I think, was probably one of the best examples. If you see somebody fighting a monster you need to kill, just run up and deal enough damage to it as well. I think Final Fantasy 14 works that way. You don't really compete with other players, and that is just the way to do it. Like, competing with other players for, especially if you're farming for herbs or mining nodes and stuff like that. World of Warcraft was awful about that as well. Like, many times I would end up like in dire competition with one other player who's in the same zone as me, even if he's on Horde. Like, if I'm on Horde, we're both in the same faction, but we end up competing with each other, like trying to get to nodes before the other person. Ugh, what a drag. I hated that stuff. So I seen The Division, been seeing reviews of it, and Zombie Doll actually has a copy of it, the beta. I got to watch her play for a little while on stream. Tom Clancy's The Division is a game that really interests me. But it is totally not what I was expecting. Like, completely not. I was kind of expecting a open world survival AAA game. Like, I was expecting a DayZ, and that's what it always seemed like it would be. I wasn't expecting Destiny. Not that I'm not cool with that. I think that if it's gonna be Destiny, that's awesome. Like, hey, it's just really, really, really hard to get around the fact that the setting is so realistic, the graphics are realistic, like every detail about the game kind of leads me to believe that it's meant to be realistic, and I just don't know how to ignore that fact, like, at all. This is weird. So I was watching the review of Total Biscuit, and he was talking about it, and he was saying basically the same exact thing. His points were pretty much identical to how I felt about it. But I mean, I guess in some ways that it surprised me that it was going to be that much of a reaction, because I kind of got over it, but at the same time, it really does make you have to like do a double take. Yeah, I'm just gonna say that now. Like, I am looking forward to playing it, though. As soon as it comes out, I'll probably be doing videos and comics of it and stuff like that. This place is fucked up. What the fuck, man? One thing I've kind of noticed is this area. These guys remind me a lot of Murlocs. Now, Murlocs are these cute little bad guys in World of Warcraft that they make it sound like whatever they aggro you, like they go, I'm sure anyone who's played World of Warcraft for any amount of time knows exactly what I'm talking about. Well, something that's kind of strange about all MMOs is that they've all kind of copied that. At least the ones that where the IP came out after World of Warcraft. In the case of Final Fantasy, the closest thing they have is the Moogles, and the Moogles don't really count because that's like old school stuff long before World of Warcraft was even a thing. But in this game, they're called Poggles, and they're like frogs. Frog people or something, and I'm sure they exist in Terra. There's like these weird, cute enemies that you'll see. Sometimes they're enemies, sometimes they're friendly, sometimes you can, like, you have to help them, sometimes. And it's exactly what these guys are. I mean, the Poggles are in this. I'll have to... I'm not near any at the moment, but... they're just these weird, cute frogs. and they are the Murlocs of this game. So there's like I guess there's just one more thing I want to mention or talk about, and I didn't even get a chance to mention this in the Sword Art Online video that I talked about before. Is that I'm kind of curious if anybody knows anything about this. It's the giant towers that you see in anime MMORPGs in general. I, I know that there's at least a couple MMORPGs that have similar things, but a lot of MMORPGs that I've seen actually have like these massive towers that have to be traversed. And Sword Art Online is kind of the main one, but you always see it. And even I see references to this kind of a thing even in games like RPG Maker, for example. If you look at like one of the splash screens that comes with RPG Maker, you'll see like one of them has a gigantic tower, like set in a regular fantasy, JRPG fantasy setting and everything like that. Now, what started that? I don't know, like what game started that or where that came from in general, but it's interesting where that, because I would have figured to see that more often in actual video games. But the only thing I can think of is maybe the Crystal Tower in Final Fantasy XIV, which is it's really just a raid dungeon that's not really meant to be like seriously difficult raid content or anything. So where did those things come from, and why is it a thing in anime and manga, but not commonly found in actual video games? So like, why is there such a why is it so disjointed? Anyway, I'm glad that I got a chance to kind of like vent, because getting a strike against me on YouTube is, oh god, that really discouraged the shit out of me. I hope I don't have to deal with that shit again. Like, I guess my account's eventually gonna get fucked. Well, I guess I'll have to be more careful. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more. I'm going to be doing like blogs and just random fun stuff like this, because I've just been enjoying it so much. Like it's been fun right up until I got the fucking wind knocked out of my sails. I don't know if that analogy makes any sense at all with the copyright thing, but oh, maybe it's like a rite of passage. Maybe you're not a real YouTuber until it happened to you at least once or something. That makes me feel a little bit better. Anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.